Hey friend, nice to see you. I am Jeremy Tank, and if you're watching this, I am your brand guy, which means I'm the guy you can ask questions about brands, branding, websites, all that kind of stuff. Um, and my goal here is to help you build your business, build your life more of the way that you want it to be. And I know there's a lot of people out there, from life coaches to consultants to online programs, that are promising you, the world essentially the way that you want it. And all I want to do is help you choose the right words to talk about your business and your life with people who might be interested in the things that you do, and then help you find the right pictures to show them exactly what it means to work with you, and inspire them with those kind of pictures. And what that leads to is the right kinds of stories that you share with people. Now, all of those things, the words and the pictures, that's branding. That's choosing to share things about yourself that are unique to you in a way that draws others towards you. And in branding, really, we're choosing those words carefully, and we're choosing the pictures carefully, because it's super easy these days to unintentionally choose photographs and use words that are offensive to your audience. And we don't want to do that. And part of that's just building up an understanding of who your audience is and what they want, and how to solve their problems, making sure you are a good fit to solve their problems. These days, perhaps you've seen this, it's a lot less about what you're doing and the price that you're offering. It's more about, are you actually solving problems, and are you creating an authentic, real connection with people that can help them through their everyday lives, whatever their difficulty is. And branding is really this uniqueness that is you, this uniqueness in standing out, in sharing things, that helps you stand out in their brains, and creates trust and reciprocity between you. And that's what builds business relationships. Well, relationships of any kind, really. I mean, you start dating, you got to build trust, especially COVID times. I would not want to be dating right now. I'm sorry. My wife and I were talking about this over the weekend, where we saw a couple people out on a first date, and they were holding hands and wearing masks and walking in the park. And I thought, oh, that's so cute. And she said, oh, I'd hate to be dating. I don't even know what's underneath that mask. And I realized that there is now a level of trust that you have to share with someone to remove your mask and actually have a communication with them. So that was just a little aside. So this whole idea of branding, I've talked a lot about this over the last several videos, and how this fits into this process that I help people with. This is what I'm offering people, called Manifest Design. And Manifest Design is helping you hone your vision and your understanding of your audience and their pains and the things that you're trying to solve. Trying to make sure that you speak with an audience so that you can start getting sales right away, so that you can start moving your business forward, turning cash positive. But also having another audience, a growth audience, somebody that you want to gear towards. Maybe that's more what you want to build in your life and do. It's important to kind of understand, if you can start building money and start growing at the same time, we have to plan these things out, because simply going by our gut and going by what we want to do day by day, life will challenge us. The universe likes to throw little hitches in the giddy up and likes to test us. So it's important to have a really thorough understanding of some of these things, so that as you take steps in your life, as you take steps in your career, if you take steps in your practice, if you're a complementary medicine provider, then you really need to have dialed in at least someplace in your brain. And I really recommend writing it down. There's a reason for this, and I'll get to it in just a minute. It's important that you really dial in who you're talking to, how you're helping them, what you're doing, as well as the people that you aspire to help, you aspire to work with. And the reason that I say write this down is that your brain is going to sort of hold on to these ideas and keep bouncing them back and forth. And this is how fear of missing out, this is the short-term goals thing, people constantly jumping and switching different ideas. It's because the brain likes to hold on to these concepts. It's never quite finished. It's always problem solving. But as soon as you write something down, it does two things. One, it connects with the brain, with the motor functions in the hand, which causes, when you take notes, it causes information to go deeper into your brain. But when you're outputting it, it's actually a deeper connection through the hand, writing or drawing on paper, creating notes that way. It creates a more kinesthetic transaction between the brain and the body, and it's a more thorough. And when you're putting things down, what happens is that's a more thorough expression outwards, a more thorough release of that information, and then the brain actually ties in with the body and says, okay, I've let that go, I know what that is. And because you've written it down and can look at it and reread it again, it's actually something that moves from your conscious processing into your subconscious processing, and it triggers this thing that we've talked about a couple different times, the RAS, I just forgot what it stood for. That's awesome. The RAS is sort of like this double check factor for all of the senses that are coming in. It's a perception filter, really. If you are in a mood where you are perceiving a whole bunch of happiness, then you're actually going to see more things that draw more happiness into your reality. And that's just a function of the way that the brain works. These perception filters, the reticular activating system, RAS, and it trains your brain what to look for based on your emotional state, based on the feelings that you're at, based on your physical state that actually pushes your emotional state. So it's important to get these things out and work them down. Get them worked out and written down. And so that the manifest design works through some of that with you. I also work through people with their beliefs and the values that they're trying to build their life, because a lot of times your subconscious brain is working on one frequency, one movement, one processing avenue, and your conscious brain is thinking, well, frankly, the opposite, 180 degrees opposite. And in that case, your subconscious brain is going to be a lot stronger. Why? Because the subconscious brain controls about 95% of what you do. Only 5% is in the conscious brain. And part of the reason that ties in with your body, and I really believe in working the body and standing up and breathing properly and working with the hands to draw or write or something, is that this 95% subconscious brain, what is the largest part of the subconscious brain? Your body. Your body influences everything going on in your brain. And this is part of that whole mind-body connection that we're starting to understand more with neuroscience. We're starting to understand more actually with quantum science. And this is actually what brought me into hypnosis, because I started researching hypnosis after I finished reading a book called Quantum Creativity. And I read Quantum Creativity because because the author was one of the physicists in What the Bleep Do We Know? And I love that movie. I used to love that movie. Now I think it's a little bit dated. I'd love for they made a sequel. There's so much that we found out about consciousness and about neuroscience and about quantum science and the overlap of all of these things. And how our perceptions really do change how we see reality. And a lot of this stuff is just coming out since 1920, 1930, 1950s. It's just that it's not common, because societally it's easier to kind of brush this stuff under the rug as woo-woo. Well, we're really finding that this woo-woo is a huge motivating factor for you, for me, for everybody. And that's what actually got me into the hypnosis, because one of the best ways to reach an understanding of yourself, reach a heightened understanding of your mind, and unify a lot of these things, this is what led me to Ram Dass. Ram Dass, in his books, talking about finding a guru. Well, it's kind of hard to go out and find a guru these days, except for on YouTube. There's gurus galore if you choose to follow them, but you don't know who to follow, who to listen to, what they're teaching until you get several videos in. And I listened to probably far too many. I think that's really true of a lot of us, right? You end up trying to listen to somebody, get some truth for yourself, weed through the verbiage and get to something. And then I kind of stumbled on hypnosis, because hypnosis is the shorter route to a lot of the same kind of truths. So hypnosis is, if you've never been hypnotized, hypnosis is not what you think it is. Hypnosis is not falling deeply asleep and not remembering anything. Hypnosis is not losing control of yourself and clucking like a chicken. At least not the way I've been taught, not the way I've read, not the way I've understood it. Hypnosis is more like when you're watching a really good movie and it has just sucked you in and something happens and the next thing you know, the movie's over and you had this emotional journey and you were drawn in and you cried a little. That's me, I cry a little bit. And you just felt exhilarated, and by the end of it you are exhausted. You were hypnotized. That is the power of storytelling, to actually cause your conscious brain to go, okay, I can take a break at the moment, I can just relax, I don't have to worry about things, I don't have to process. And the subconscious mind receives all of the signals, receives the story, and actually tends to replay on really deep levels, assigning self to characters in the story that you just watched. And there's a lot of identification with that. And there's a theory I just heard, read about yesterday, that said, all the people in your life, you are really picking up on the mirrored emotions and feelings that they have, but that resonate within you. So you are actually liking pieces of yourself in them. And I know I've heard that before somewhere, but I heard it this time, and it actually made a little difference in the way I perceived that, because now that I understand a little bit more about how the brain works, I have to take more responsibility for myself when talking to others. So what does this all have to do with hypnosis and branding? So what I discovered was really this inner world in hypnosis. And for those of you who are woo-woo, for those of you who are in the metaphysical circles, who understand spirituality, who really know anything, who knew my mother, or who knew anything about her life and her practice and her spiritual practices and her groups of people that would meditate and channel and all of that kind of stuff. I grew up with a lot of that. And I've had a relationship back and forth with it. Sometimes I'm really into it, sometimes I'm not. But lately, I'm really feeling like science is leading me down a path where this stuff is more important for me to see and embrace and help others walk this path. And what I discovered in sort of doing this for myself was that there's an outer world. And that would be everything I sense with the outside of me. My ears hear audio, my eyes see, I touch, I taste, I smell. This is all the outer world. This is really easy to sense. Sometimes we get this feeling like a nauseous stomach or rapid heartbeat or something else from the outer world that influences us. And then there's the inner world. And the inner world is your creativity. The inner world is when you get into a flow state, when you actually transcend beta brain waves into alpha, into theta, and then there's gamma, which is like this burst of the entire brain working together and being, I can only say creative. There's imagination going on, there's creation going on, there's from my understanding, there's quantum entanglement being brought together and bound. And this is the sort of thing that excites me. This is the sort of thing that excites me because suddenly I see the path between knowing something, wanting something, and working with the brain to program it in a better way to make it happen in the outside world. But to do that, we have to reach this point of comfort and quiet. I only really realized, okay, so when I'm talking about these things with people and I say stuff like subtle energies, when you sit down to write a story and you start letting the imagination flow and the story just flows from you easily and effortlessly, that's a really subtle energy. And finding that and listening to it and putting it down is an act of faith. You trust that something will come of it. And sometimes you have to go back and edit because that's life. And life is messy and life is sloppy. And that's okay. But what I found was that these subtle energies, when playing with them and it's very much play. Like, you play with life, you play with energy, you play with these things. It affected the outer energies. And the point of branding and having the brand in general is affecting all of the outer energy to tie in with who you are and what you want that perception of you to be. And the point of the inner energies is to get your mind right, to get your inner energy sort of aligned and set up so that it is aligned with your outer energy. And when you do this, you are far more effective with the laws of attraction and resonance and vibration, because what you are saying, thinking, doing, receiving on the inside is congruent with what you are saying and projecting and the actions you are taking based on the beliefs outward. So, I had another coach contact me this last week and say, well, why are you doing branding and hypnosis? This seems like a weird combination, something that's really unique and funky. And I said, well, it's because the yin and the yang of energy work. And it's the yin and the yang of starting a business, and the yin and the yang of being a person and having goals. And because I've worked in the corporate world for 25 years, I'm much better at seeing these things in terms of, okay, well, having a mission, having a vision, setting quarterly goals, annual goals, creating a process, a system to build these things. But I'm finding that a lot of these same tools are really great for just anybody wanting a life goal, having something that they want to accomplish. You know, we grew up as children and we always had dreams and hopes and desires, and it's hard to say how to make those things happen. Well, it turns out that using these processes, using the mind tricks, using these things really is a great way to make these things happen. And why hypnosis? Because I wanted to share this. I've taken, 5 or 6 different kind of classes and online. Everything's online these days. And I got hung up on mindset because I didn't really understand what mindset means. And I kind of laughed last week as I was making a video because I went, oh, get your mind set in the right direction, right? Well, it's the RAS. It's the cues that we pick up on, that we choose to pick up on, that we train our brain to pick up on, that we resonate with, that gets the mind actually going in the right direction. Because and as most of my hypnosis sessions that I hold with people are really about the law of attraction, feeling abundance in one's life, feeling confident, finding the things that we want to find, letting the universe bring more things into our life. That's the kind of hypnosis I like to do, because I feel a real strong draw towards it in really creating and manifesting these things. But the problem is you can't just say to your mind, okay, well, I'm going to change my mindset. I don't have an abundance mindset. I don't have a wealth mindset. I'm going to be wealthy. I'm going to be, what is that show? Seinfeld. George's dad. Happiness now. Serenity now, right? It doesn't work that way, because you create this when you create that discordant emotion in the body, it can't manifest through the brain, through the mind, through the quantum connections around us. And when you hit your business, that's going to awful for the business, right? Awful. You have to be congruent in these things. And so mindset is not just, well, understand that money is not actually money. Money doesn't physically exist. It's not based on a gold standard. Literally, the government is making up money. It's just sort of a figment of your imagination. Okay, that might be a little far out for some of you, but just understand that money is plentiful. Money can be plentiful. It doesn't mean it's not gonna have effects throughout our global system, but there's enough money to go around. You deserve a ton of money for whatever it is you do, and I would love to help you get that. But just saying that is not enough to inform the mind, to inform the subconscious mind, to leap over blocks and experiences that we have personally had to reach the potential, the greatness that we want to move towards. That's why hypnosis. Because through hypnosis, we can discuss the problem, we can discuss how it's appearing in your life, we can discuss how things are happening, and what we're actually doing is creating this little map from wherever you are now back into your mind and the circumstances that set that mindset in action. And once we get there, we are literally working through those emotions, working through those representations of blockage or fear or lack to find out why. And a lot of times, the point in our life that we discovered those feelings, it was a circumstance, a point where our vision was narrowed, where our perception of reality was less than it could be. And by simply shifting, by simply reframing a lot of these instances, once we've gone back down and created this map and found these instances and found the emotions and found the belief that the subconscious mind created around them, then we can adjust them. And by adjusting them, it actually does a couple different things. It changes your mind on the neuron level, which changes your subatomic vibrational makeup, right? Your frequency. If you feel happier, it's because you have endorphins going throughout your body. You are literally changing all of the molecules in your body to be something different. And continuing that on over time, I ask people to listen to an audio recording for between 21 and 30 days. What that does is reinforces the neuron change, the network change that we made, and it uses neuroplasticity, which is the ability for neurons to keep adjusting and shifting and moving over time. Neurons that fire together, wire together. Neuron networks that are forgotten sort of just dissipate and change and move around, and it's a fantastic way for your brain to reuse resources. So what we're doing is we're just making different connections, and then through this audio recording, we are locking those in, because after that 30 days, it is no longer a transitional neural network. It is more heavily cemented in place. It's not to say it can't be undone. Everything kind of can be undone, but listening to that recording locks it in place. So at that point, what we're doing is we're saying I'm helping you find a way to hone in on the mindsets you want and transition your neural network to embrace those mindsets. And then we started already with creating this vision of your life, this encompass of your customers, this map towards what you want to do and your influences and how the words you want to say outwards. And those become powerful anchors for this hypnotic transformation that happens in your life. And then all of these together allow you to just walk out and be the person you want to be. And that's the last step of the manifest design process, is the hypnosis, because everything leading up to that are the powerful drivers. All the things leading up to that are training your brain to want to feel good, to achieve all of these things. They're creating powerful drivers in your body and in your mind, and the hypnosis goes in and shifts the neural networks that are stopping you from getting there. And so that's really the last step of that whole process. If you're curious, if you want to choose the right words for your business, for yourself, if you want to talk about your vision, your customers, any of that stuff, leave a comment down below and I will go ahead and connect with you on private message somewhere through here. And if you want to learn more about what I do, I'd love if you visit thinktankcreative.net and read a little bit more about what I do for bigger businesses and the branding stuff that goes into the bigger businesses. Because when you hit certain points in your life, 250 grand, 1 million, 5 million, you have to look differently to appeal to the audiences at that scale of the game. And right now through Facebook, what I'm doing is I'm helping the coaches, the consultants, the complementary medicine practitioners who are not at that level yet. You guys are below that. You need some better words to share what you're doing, particularly if you are kind of struggling right now, or you're trying to figure out how to get started, or you're trying to figure out what to say on social media. Working with me is how we figure out all those things. And this is just the process. Go back and watch my videos. You can step through several of these steps yourself. And I am here if you need help. That's my whole point. I want to help. I want to help you change your mindset. I want to help you start living the life that you want to live, getting the wealth that I think you deserve, because I think everybody deserves to be wealthy in this country, in this world, in this life. And I'd love to help you get there. And just in case you're curious, you don't have to remember everything from the sessions. The very last session of Manifest Design is me reporting to you. I record everything on paper that we have talked about, and I present it back to you so you have clear, easy, consistent guidelines, ways to talk about your business, ways to talk about your services, who your audience is, and how it all ties together, so that it's just a nice, easy report, nice, easy package for you. People have really liked these because I make them fun. I make them really informative, good to read over later, good to keep for years, and just refreshing your brain every now and again how you are choosing to move things forward. So that's about all for today. I would love if you guys liked, shared, commented. Tell me something more that you want to learn about either my process or me or any of this stuff. Tomorrow, I'm actually hoping to talk about something a little bit different, but that is completely tied in with all this stuff. It's not going to be my Manifest Design process. Today was the last day talking about hypnosis and how that ties in with everything else. Tomorrow, I kind of want to talk about some of the bigger, broader topics on the reason why this stuff matters and why this stuff matters now more than ever. So stay tuned. Check out tomorrow and get ready. I hope you guys, it's a bright sunny day here just north of Seattle, so I'm thinking about maybe going for a walk. It looks gorgeous outside, and that seems to have been so rare lately. This whole weekend was just rainy and crappy, so so nice out there. Love it. Love the sunshine. Love hearing from you guys, and really, you are terrific. You are amazing. I really appreciate it. Just you being here, and however I can help you, just let me know, because I'm your brand guy. So let's figure out how to make this work. Talk to you later. Take care. Bye.